So we said that we're talking about understanding Islam and the Sunnah. And when we say Islam is the religion from Allah, we're talking about the truth, the one actual truth, the real beliefs of not just a Muslim, but of all of mankind. Right? We're saying that there is one fundamental belief, that there is only one God. And so the message that God is going to give to all of mankind is the same. And we're saying that we have that message transmitted from Allah in the spoken words of God in the Quran and the Sunnah. The actions and statements and the actual way of life of the Prophet Muhammad. That fundamental truth, that if you understood that you have that truth, that you have something amazing. That same fundamental truth that God is transmitting to all mankind. The same truth that God taught Adam in the heavens. And the same lesson that Adam learned when Shaitan tricked him into doing something other than what Allah had commanded. And so Adam taught his sons and the generations to come to believe in this truth, that there is only one God, and that he was a messenger, and more messengers would come, and more books, and that there are angels writing everything down, and there is a day of judgment, and heaven and hell, and you will be rewarded and punished for your actions, and that all of this is by the fate or the destiny or the qadr of Allah, the Lord Most High. And so after Adam taught this to his sons, some great men came out of later generations. Waddan, Su'an, Yaghuth, Ya'ura, Nasran. Great men came who were leaders amongst their people, who spoke the truth and did righteous deeds. But Shaitan, in that ultimate battle and struggle, came to confuse the people and make them believe that there wasn't one God. And slowly they built statues of these great leaders, and after some time, Shaitan tricked the people into worshipping these statues and idols. And so the story goes. Generation after generation, messenger after messenger, from Adam to the first messenger Noah, Shaitan is tricking the people to lead them astray from the truth. But you're saying you have Islam, and so you have that one fundamental truth. You understand and have been given something exceptional. You've been given the truth, and that Allah has completed the religion for you and showed you the greatness of what you have in the Quran and the Sunnah, the way of the Prophet. And slowly, if you start to lose that, you become like other generations that came before. And you become misguided, as Shaitan misguides people away from that truth. And so that's why it's important for you to understand, do you really believe? Do you really believe that Islam is that truth? Do you really submit that Allah is the Lord and He sent to the best of mankind the messenger, Muhammad, the truth, and in his example is the truth of who you are supposed to be? The seal of the prophets, the last of all the messengers in this chain of fate or destiny that is part of the fundamentals of our creed? If you understand that and you truly believe that the religion is complete, then you must know that it is part of your duty to make sure that, unlike earlier generations, nothing corrupts the truth and nothing lets you get misguided. And so that's why we get to point 6 of Imam Barbahaaree, where he says, know that the people never introduce an innovation until they abandon its like from the Sunnah. So beware of newly invented matters, since every newly invented matter is an innovation, and every innovation is misguidance, and misguidance and its people are in the fire. You see, if you understand that you have been given that truth, that final revelation of the Quran, and the example of the final messenger in the Sunnah, then you should believe as a fundamental in your heart that for every situation and every circumstance, there is an appropriate action or reaction or method or thing that you're supposed to do from the Sunnah. And if you understood that, then you realize what Imam Barbahaaree is saying is that when you introduce an innovation into the religion, into the creed, into the deen, then you've done two things. You've brought something that didn't belong, and that by itself is a major problem. But even worse is that you have lost something from the Sunnah that should be there instead of what you innovated. See, the right thing to do is there. It's there in the Sunnah and in the Quran. You just had to find it. But instead you brought something that wasn't supposed to be there. And so what are you doing? You've gone into misguidance. And you're misguiding others. And you're leading yourself and others into the fire. That's what it means. And so when we say that we're talking about the Sunnah and how it was supposed to be, then we understand it by the Quran and the Sunnah. And even the Quran, Allah says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وَمَن يُشَاقِقِ الرَّسُولَ مِن بَعْدِ مَا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُ الْهُدَى وَيَتَّبِعْ غَيْرَ سَبِيلِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ نُوَلِّهِ مَا تَوَلَّى وَنُصْلِيهِ جَهَنَّمَ وَسَاءَتْ مَصِيرًا. If anyone contends or goes against the messenger, even after guidance has been plainly conveyed to him, and follows a path, or a way, or a sunnah, or a method, or does something other than that of the believers, and when the Quran says the believers, who is it talking about? It's talking about the original Jama'ah, the companions, those believers who believed in that truth. Then Allah says, we leave him on the path that he chose, and we land him in hell. What an evil refuge. Why? Because we've given you the path. We've given you the way. We've given you the Sunnah. That's the method. And if you innovate, you've brought something that wasn't supposed to be there. But even worse, you've lost the Sunnah. And that's what it means to follow the Sunnah in the way of the believers. Those who were what? Closest to the original source. Closest to the Quran and the Sunnah, the actual living prophet. Get your information from the original sources. That's the essence of the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Of following the Salaf Salih, the pious predecessors. Those who followed the Sunnah and the Jama'ah, the congregation of the companions. Point number 6 of Imam Barbahaaree. Know that people never introduce an innovation until they abandon its like from the Sunnah. So beware of newly invented matters, since every newly invented matter is an innovation, and every innovation is misguidance, and misguidance and its people are in the fire. May Allah protect us. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.